back with another video. Excited for this one. This is something I've been putting off for quite a while. That little machine has been absolutely awesome. It is a Kobelco 35. I think it weighs about 8,000 pounds, I think. Got about 2,300 hours on it or so. It is just an awesome little machine. I am forever amazed how much I can actually do with it. I can handle some pretty good sized logs. I drag logs out with it, and I load the dump truck with it. It is an all-purpose machine and been an awesome blessing, and the only really way I can do what I do. Would love to upgrade someday, but it's what we have at the moment. It's actually my father's, but he, like a good dad, has looked to see his son succeed, so I get to use it. Might get some pushback on that one right there. I ditched the metal log dogs quite a while ago. Not a big fan of them. Wasn't able to really capture all the way down. My makeshift water jug. I was never crazy about the one that came with it, so I pretty quickly made this one. It's just a bucket, and then I put a little needle valve or a little valve on the bottom of it. I currently use a mix of water and Simple Green. It's cheap, keeps the blade clean. Let me know if there's something better to use. It seems to work. I don't have any problems with it. Well, thanks for clicking on this. Thanks for watching this. We'll get into what I'm about ready to do here. Of course, it's going to start raining. Figure I'll show you guys what I'm doing and what my goal is on these logs. These are all going to be smaller logs, and they're not my favorite, but it's what I got for the moment. I'm just cutting up a bunch of 1x, trying to get 1x6s, mostly 1x8s if I can. But yeah, this is the log I got here. My intentions will be to open the face of this up and then maybe grab a 1x6 or so, 1x4 maybe, depending on what it yields. And then possibly, I'd like to get down to the meat of this. There's at least good 6 inches all the way across there, nice and wide. This is the smaller end of the log, so that will be my goal, is to get to a 6 or an 8 here. That gives me the most yield. So I may end up taking probably a 1x4, 1x6, 1x6, maybe 2 1x6s there. I don't know, we'll see. That's kind of the goal. It's just an 8-foot. Pretty knotty, pretty nasty, but it's good lumber in there still. It's cedar, so it's good and dry, and a little bit of a rainy day. Kind of crappy out, but it's not downpouring, so gotta work with what we got. It wasn't too bad. Got 10 1x6s and 2 1x4s. Got some 1x1s also in there, so wasn't too bad. Now we just got to do that like, I don't know, 10 more times. The smaller logs are slow, but there's some beautiful lumber in there. Nothing to pass over. Perfect. That went pretty decent. Got 32 1x6 and 6 1x4 out of 4 logs total. I don't think any of them were over 12 inches in diameter on the small end, so not much, but I mean, gosh, there's 30 boards there that were just laying around here that can be used. So they all turned out pretty nice. No loose knots or anything, I couldn't tell anyways. So, bit of a short day, rain's starting to pick up, so I'm gonna call it a day.
Really love this work. It's kind of hard to put it into words, and if anybody else out there is watching this and walks away with the same feeling, I imagine you can understand it. Something about working with raw material, raw logs, and making something that somebody can use. I think it taps into a fundamental level for a man, so I wouldn't trade it for anything. I've had various jobs over the years, and running my own business has been the most difficult part of all of it. It's kind of feast or famine. You never know quite what's coming in or what might be down the road. So there's a little bit of having to hang tight and see how it goes. I'm creeping into my second-ish year. First year I wasn't fully in business. Was doing a lot of little odds and ends stuff, mostly for myself. But it's been a lot of fun. It's hard work, obviously, but it's very rewarding. I have no problem sleeping good at night. I would love to make this into something that I can bring my sons into. That's been a goal of mine from get-go, really, is to build something of a future that they can partake in. Well Pass is a very small town, and there's very little of an economy here. It's an awesome place, but it's difficult. You gotta either work out of town or pave your own way. So those are kind of the choices for guys around here. There are plenty of jobs on the island, but I've never worked well under others, I guess. I can do it, it's not that I can't, but especially now that I've tasted the freedom of small business and the freedom of what I do, I don't see how I could ever go back. it's occurred to me that a vast majority of my videos are 1x. I do cut quite a bit of other stuff, mostly 2x material. I cut some 6x6s and 4x6s for this job. I enjoy cutting those. There's a lot of board footage in there, and it's fun to find logs that size that can handle that. I will be sure to add more of that content on here. 1x's are nice, but they do take time consuming, and you get twice the amount of sawdust and half the amount of board footage. I do charge more for milling 1x material, not twice as much, but I do charge more. It seems to be kind of the proper way to do it. Just requires double the amount of work to get the board footage. Same amount of passes, but half the board footage. Well, if you made it this far in the video, I do appreciate it, and if you wouldn't mind hitting that like button, it does something on my end anyways, get the video out there a little bit more and show the people that are watching it and appreciating it. I do appreciate the view, and hope you guys enjoy it. Leave a comment down below if you've got any questions or thoughts or opinions. Let me hear it. Thanks for watching.
Got some nice lumber there. So I don't know how big that pile is, but it's pretty good size. Turned out to be a beautiful day. It's been rain showering off and on. I've been hiding under the shed there off and on. So other than that, it's been pretty productive. That is the last of my small logs that I picked out there. So I should have counted. There's maybe a dozen or so, something like that. If I had to estimate, probably 60 or so 1x6s. Pretty happy with them. It'll be perfect for the little project we're working on. So yeah, a good deal. I gotta go run and go grab the kiddo from school.